Hello, welcome to the podcast of Startup Recruitment Failures. I'm Indra, founder and CEO of JobRely. We're building outbound recruitment SaaS and automating LinkedIn. And today my guest is Dmitrijus Borisenko at CoinGate. Dmitrijus, could you please introduce yourself and your startup?
Hello, Indra. Hello, listeners. My name is Dmitrijus Borisenko. I'm the co-founder of CoinGate.com. This is a website that I've been building for the past 8 years. And this is a fintech company, and we focus on allowing businesses to accept cryptocurrencies as a mean of payment. So basically a PayPal for crypto.
Mm-hmm. How is it going nowadays? Because we all hear many rumors about the crypto industry.
Well, honestly, I can start from the first insight when it comes to cryptocurrencies that it's our second bear market that we live in for our company. We started the company in 2014. So what we see, the difference right now and 4 years ago is that customers still today, even though the prices crashed dramatically, they're still making payments online. And so our quantity didn't fall. Mm-hmm. The average cards fell for our merchants, for our businesses. But at the end of the day, we are still processing the same amount of customer orders and even increasing. So we are not trading. We are mostly focusing on building an infrastructure because we believe in a cross-border payment nature for crypto. And we follow that. So independently of whether prices go up or down, we see that the market players are seeing the value behind accepting cryptocurrency payments. So for us, it's a roller coaster for price, but for payments, we're in the right path.
Glad to hear. So, Dmitrijus, could you please share about your lessons you learned when it comes to recruitment?
Well, this is a very interesting topic, and I think that all startup founders should follow this podcast. There are very valuable lessons here to be learned. And when it comes to my own experience, obviously, I'm building this company for 8 years. And maybe my lesson, my story is that we went into the transition period. We were a startup in the very beginning, which was basically like a garage idea. We came up with a few friends and we decided to build a future for cryptocurrencies, for allowing businesses accept crypto. And it was a lean approach, right? So we were 3 co-founders and we were building our product while we were doing some other daytime job at that time. Mm-hmm. But when we started to grow and expand, we started to hire people, and at first it was like a family approach. I think that most of the startup founders will be relevant with scaling vocabulary. So, the first line there is so-called family size company. So when you are in family size, you see people every day, you interact with them every day, and then you are as a fist, you're able to build a product very fast. You're able to challenge ideas and challenge problems. And I love this moment, when you're building something new and everyone is enthusiastic about it. But when you move from family to the tribe, it's still quite easy for co-founders to manage that. You're around, 15 to 20 people. So you already expanded into few cabinets, like 2-3 cabinets. I mean, this is a time when pre-COVID time. So we were not restricted by any restrictions, and everyone was focused on building the product. And still, you hired all the people and you were responsible for them and they were responsible to drive results. So at that point, it was still an easy approach. So we were building a product very fast and we were trying to scale into other departments on how to do customer support, how to do the compliance and sales and marketing. And sometimes this worked, sometimes this doesn't work, but every time you were interacting with people and you were also learning with them. But at some point, when the company started to grow, well, kind of exponentially in my point of view, you start to lose that. You start to lose the connection with the people, and then it's either the culture that holds everything together, or it's the leaders that you grow together with the company. And I think there is a mistake or a lesson, let's say, and there is an award, a winning that we did in this journey. Altogether, in the family and tribe stage, we were able to grow a few leaders which came here as junior developers for business or for product. Still to this day, they work for 5 or 4 years in the company and they managed to get to the medium level or to senior level management, and then they are able to delegate all the work and all the importance of mentorship and allowing junior colleagues to grow. And this is important, because if you are still trying to do everything on your own, most likely you would lose the focus, because you didn't do the entire job, you didn't go through the entire journey, you helped the people to grow, and then those people, they are also having the knowledge on what they can expect and what they can demand from their junior colleagues. So this is the good part, and the bad part is that, unfortunately, historically things happened. COVID brought us isolation, and then war brought us fear, and then everything is mixed up, and unfortunately culture suffered a little bit, and as well the sentiment for market, for cryptos also fell off a bit at some point. So for us, the culture part is something that it's an ongoing process. You cannot build it and say that it's all fixed and it's all done. It's an ongoing process, and you always need to improve, and you always need to include yourself as a founder into that area. And what I mean by culture is that raising young leaders and giving them a proper feedback. If they are delivering well, give them a raise, give them a more difficult task, and if they are failing, you need to tell them that as well. When the company comes to size as we are right now, 40, 50 people, it's important to do, not only to do things that are pleasant to you, but also to do things that are important. So feedback is valuable. Sometimes people, maybe they are a little bit afraid of what you're going to say, but if you are transparent and if you are stating things that are obvious, I think at the end of the day it will provide value for the person to grow as a professional, and as well to tighten up the entire company, so that you build a culture of ownership and deliverability, rather than just, hey, let's grow, let's scale. But at the end of the day, if your product is staggering and if your sales are staggering, that will backfire you pretty soon. So yeah, this is our lessons, culture, and also in the scale, don't forget to give a good, proper feedback to your colleagues.
How did you notice that there are some bad consequences happening from COVID and all the war situation? What was the moment that you realized that your company culture is not as strong and people are not feeling as good as they used to before?
Basically, the communication. Obviously, when you are in family stage, when you have up to 20 people and you don't have COVID outside, and people are in the office, they interact with each other, they start to solve questions faster, because they are always interacting with each other, obviously. And when COVID hit, and when the isolation also allowed, not the allowed, but also work from home become a normal aspect of life, and you are, as a company, always building product and always are delivering that product for your customers because they are relying on you. Communication becomes vital, and this is what we noticed from our experience, that communication got stagnated, and then some parts of the company couldn't take the ownership. And therefore, if you start to work from home, or if you have a hybrid approach, then you need to have procedures in place, and then you need to get people to talk to each other. So sometimes some alignment methodology works, like we started to implement OKRs, so-called objective and key results. And this helped us to understand what is important and what departments need to speak between each other. But yeah, also as a co-founder, basically you see also that there is a big gap between product team and, for example, marketing, or from compliance team, because they have their own agenda, and times change and we need to adapt. And co-founders' role is just to understand where the wind is blowing, so that you can take the sail out and sail to that direction together.
And you have increased your team during COVID significantly. So I assume you hired quite a lot of people during this time.
Yeah, that's true. If you remember, in 2021, we had a price increase for cryptocurrencies, and then those NFTs started to pop up. So it was a good moment for us to also have our services offered for our customers. So we onboarded pretty big number of prominent names. So yeah, we had to maintain the infrastructure, and we had to also increase our team.
Did you notice that, and do you see the difference between COVID times and before in terms of recruiting people? How different was it? And in terms of the results, were they successful?
I don't think that this can be related to COVID alone. I think what COVID did is that because of the tons of money that were injected into the economy, many VCs and many funds and many people started to invest in the startups, and those startups raised money, and then they had a necessity to spend those money on their product. And for product, basically, you need people who would build that, right? And you need sales and marketing. So I think the dark side of COVID was, well, there are two. One is in isolation, but another one is that, at least in Lithuania, it became more difficult to hire people, because everyone was spitting out money and just taking all the marketing, sales people and product people and hiring them and providing them an opportunity to work in the startups, even though maybe not all of them are sustainable enough, let's say. But for us, hiring process before COVID was much more easier than through the COVID, and even until now. I think Lithuania becomes a very difficult place to find talent and to acquire that talent. So that's related to COVID, but not directly.
Okay, yeah, right. And in terms of onboarding when you hire, because, previously everyone had to come to office. During COVID, everyone started working from home. Did you notice any difference there?
Well, obviously, people are having virtual calls right now more often, and of course, on the flip side, from what I just said previously, right now, hiring a person from other city is not a problem. Even hiring from another country, obviously, it wasn't a problem for us before COVID, but right now it's even more easier because you can organize all the conversations online, and you can basically monitor whether the guy is delivering, whether the person is delivering his results or not. And therefore, maybe this is on the flip side, this is what became more open, let's say. When it was in past, it was okay, so you're from another city, then we need to understand how often would you come to the office. So right now it's not an option. I mean, it would be fine if the person come to the office, but right now the aftermath of COVID is that it's becoming more difficult also to demand people to come from the office. Not that we demanded that in past, but right now it's just became a status quo, hybrid approach.
Yeah.
People come to the office once or twice per week, and then everything rest is based on the results that they provide rather than hours that they spend in the office.
Okay. Could you emphasize one situation you had when you hired and you just failed?
Yeah, well, I think as most startups, we had a mistake thinking that we can onboard the person and he can learn while we learn together with him. So sometimes you are in desperate need of a specialist, and you see that someone is more or less related to that topic, and you think that people are more plastic in a way that they can adapt. And sometimes you fail with that because you need to speak with people, and you need very precisely to understand what are the expectations. I think in general, not only when it comes to recruiting or business or life in general, it's all about expectations. So it's, for me, the mistakes, let's say, that I made in past is not having the expectations straight on a job interview, and you cannot fit the person. If you even if you have a need, you need to discuss this with the person, whether he has enough competence, whether he has enough knowledge and interest in, moving to this similar topic, let's say. So that's on a general sense. And when it comes to more specific, we are lagging a lot with sales positions as well. This is something that me being a product guy and my co-founders being product guys, we still lack to this day opportunity to build a stable and scalable, let's say, sales approach to our product. And this comes to the fact that in past we were a bootstrapped company, and we still are a bootstrapped company, so we don't have any external investors.
Mm-hmm.
And we always were in this stage where we couldn't hire senior managers to do the job or to build the entire team.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that we can raise them from the from juniors, and that we can give them a better salary once they start to deliver more results. And unfortunately, it doesn't work this way. That's why in previously I mentioned that it's very important so that junior people have mentors in the company who help them to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare occasion that junior whatever, developer or sales guy or any position which comes to junior. It's very rare occasion that he is talented enough to do everything on his own and to find information. Usually you need to have a mentor that already did all the job, and he knows what are the standards, and he can help you to grow there. This is our mistake for the sales department. We put all eggs into one basket, thinking that the junior to medium guy can build the entire team and the entire department, and it didn't work out for us. So we and everything was lost once he decided to move somewhere else, which makes sense, right? I mean, the person came to the company, he went through all stages, and then at certain point we put too much responsibility on him. And then he said, okay, maybe I'm not ready for that, and A, I'm not ready for that, and B, I need to also check what other companies have to offer, not for the salary sake, but also for the procedure sake, for the knowledge sake, and etc.
Yeah.
And right now we made a decision, especially for those departments that are difficult for us to grasp personally. We want to have seniors that can be accountable, and that could take all the ownership. So this is our main lesson. We no longer hire juniors to do the difficult work. Even though they are super talented, we still try to put them in a such stage that they would be supervised by someone who already knows what is the department that they are working in, and how to deliver results.
Right. How long did this take, for your employee to understand that this is not working? For how long was they working and trying to become the one you were expected to be?
I would say that it's it's not a mistake. It's just things could be done. In my journey, things could be done more efficiently in certain departments. And as a co-founder, I need to reflect on that. So we spent 2 years building that sales approach and that sales team. And then the guy left, and we had to start all over again.
Okay.
And obviously all the procedures were being held by that person. So you have to find the same guy the same person who could take over immediately, and to understand how this whole concept works. And with sales approach, it doesn't work like this. If it is a C-level person, he usually has his own agenda, how he interacts with his own team, with SDRs, LRSs, and key account managers. And every time you have a new head of sales, well, not every time, but sometimes you need to start all over again. You use the same database, you use the same pipeline, but the procedures can be changed, especially for the product as ours, which is fintech, and it's a little bit more difficult to sell, I think, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies.
But I'm just thinking, what you have could be doing differently, because it's very natural. You are a bootstrapping startup. You cannot afford to hire a C-level manager. Therefore, you expect that, mid-level person will grow into this role. And then you notice that it's not happening, right? Maybe it's because of you as a mentors. Maybe it's because of that person themselves. So when you think about the situation now, do you think you could have done something differently, or do you regret that it took so long and you could have noticed this earlier? What are your thoughts on this?
It's a very good question. I think that as a startup founder, you need to strategically think about the future of the company. And if we know that we don't have enough competence to build sales or to supervise building of the sales department on our own, then strategically you need to know that you would need a bigger stash of money. So you need to look for financing or something like that in order to have in order to have enough resources to allow yourselves to build that department for someone who can lead it. So I think if I would be able to do things differently, I would still focus on hiring a senior manager that already worked with similar project, that knows how everything is working rather than thinks that he knows, and just allow our company to pay a higher wage for a more competent person. So I think that especially for a bootstrapped company, maybe we were just too idealistic, that we thought that we need to build everything on our own and we need to raise people from their junior level. Right now I start to see things that differently. I start to focus more on medium and senior level developers and sales and marketing people.
But still, I mean, you are a very successful startup and you managed to do this by bootstrapping. And maybe if you would be going to look for investment, you would not be able to grow so fast because you would have wasted a lot of time, right? Because not working, you cannot look for investors and develop at the same speed, to do two things at once. So maybe it's not such a bad situation you were in, but you could just have noticed this earlier, right? Because it's a very great path.
Yeah, but look, I mean, this is just one way how you can strategically think about the company. I mean, it's an external investment, so you have more money to spend on people that you want to build the company further, which makes sense. But there are other ways. I mean, what I'm fond of is the so-called advisory board, which allows you to have people that are not investing in a company, but you can give them stock option, you can give them equity, you can give them salary, and you want to have them from different aspects, from different industries, with different competences, and to give you an insight of how things should be done in your company.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be external investment. It just needs to be someone who is capable of the topic. And if you have a person in your board of advisors who is, let's say, a sales practitioner in another company, and he has enough competence to explain the junior guys what they need to do and how they need to do that, then it's solved. I mean, you have the structure that allows people to have a positive feedback from market leader, from opinion maker for sales, right?
Right.
And then it works as well. And then you can build a trustful system that can deliver results to you. So this is another way of how to build the company, so that people get enough feedback and are accountable enough. So feedback again, we came back to the same thing. We started this conversation. It's all about the feedback, and the bigger company gets, the more difficult it becomes.
Right. Yeah, I think I really love it. It's a perfect solution. So you could hire advisors for some stock options. You don't need to hire C-level managers from the very beginning. And then you already have a mentor and you can grow a younger person into a C-level manager. So I think it's a perfect combination if you're not in need of the investment, right? If you can bootstrap and grow into 60 people team. Great. So thank you so much, Dmitrijus, for your time and for sharing your story. And thank you for all the listeners. For more podcasts, please visit jobrely.com.